Now, a weather update from the 4-Zone Weather Team, sponsored by Carabin Shaw.
All right, just after midnight here tonight, good Sunday morning to you. Want to get you up to date on what we have in our area right now. Start off with the view here across each of our 4 zones. We do have another batch of some sleet moving into Bexar County. There, in, in Kerrville, you can see just a little bit of it falling there in the light. This is a sleet accumulation that is on the ground up there into Kerr County and much of the hill country. Now, I want to take you to some TransGuide camera views that we have here in around San Antonio. And here you can see looks like we have an emergency unit here. This is a 410 and a Jackson Keller. That might be because of this motorist here on the side. Not really 100% sure what's going on here, but you can see there is an emergency vehicle there. Maybe that police officer, hard to tell. That's going to go check out on things here. Earlier, we did have an accident at 410 and Jackson Keller that looks like it was cleared, but now we have that motorist there on the side. This is looking here at 90, and again, you got to be careful out here. There are some little ice patches. For every hour that goes by, we're well below freezing. That little bit of iciness can creep up on you. We got another batch of some sleet coming in too, and so that could create a little bit more slick travel, but especially the bridges, the overpasses, anything that's elevated with the air circulating underneath it really need to be treated with some respect here for tonight. There you have West Avenue and I-10 there. And you can see, again, like a ghost town out there. It's really what you want to see tonight. A couple cars going here. And again, right now, mainly wet, but as soon as you hit a bridge, you got to really be careful with that. We are getting some reports through the 35 corridor, some little icy spots showing up on bridges now. All right, let's get you back over to the maps. I want to show you what's happening with winter radar. And we've had a little bit of a lull where we had a little patches of freezing mist that we're moving through. And you can see we have this batch right here. This is actually moderate sleet that is in the process now of cutting into Bexar County, up there into Bernie, parts of Kerr County, Bandera. This is light activity, a light icy mix of probably some freezing rain, freezing mist, and a little sleet in here through Guadalupe, Gonzales County in our eastern zone. Take this in a little closer. You can see now here 1604, 410, this batch of sleet that is coming in, Bernie to Helotes, Alamo Ranch, Castroville, Lake Hills, back into Hondo. And this is moving here to the northeast. So it's going to be clipping across even southern Bexar County with the southern edge of it around Devine, across the southern half of Bexar County. So pretty good coverage coming in here. It'll last probably about 30 or 45 minutes as it passes by. There you can see coming into Leon Valley now, Helotes, Scenic Oaks, Cross Mountain, out there around the rim, La Cantera. This will be heading right over Camp Bullis, Rogers Ranch, Stone Oak, and Timberwood Park. Another round of some sleet for you, where you've had already a real light accumulation that occurred earlier in the evening of some sleet. So again, you can see this batch here coming in. That deeper shade of pink represents a little bit more of a higher intensity, more of a moderate intensity of some sleet here as it's moving in. And that'll be eventually, with time, going right up here to Comal County, where right now you're in a little bit of a lull in New Braunfels. You see a little bit more activity, Spring Branch, north side of Canyon Lake, there around Fisher perhaps, and heading up 281. That's solid sleet where it continues. Here you see some of these patches in our eastern zone. Bernie to Kerrville, as said, right up into Fredericksburg. Sleet, even a little snow on occasion has been mixing in up here. But there's quite an accumulation that's on the ground. The good news, this is an area with an ice storm warning, but we're not realizing the amount of possible ice accumulation on trees and power lines that we could have, because we've seen a lot more sleet, and that just doesn't cake onto trees and power lines. So the risk of ice damage and widespread outages from a heavy accumulation of ice on trees and power lines is really going down. That's really nice to see. In the meantime, overnight there's just not really good travel up there. That'll linger right into a Sunday morning. We go out a little bit more out to the west. See this batch here? So that'll be coming northeast as we go through time here, filling in across Zavala, Dimmitt, Frio County, back into Atascosa County, probably get clipped with that batch. And then you also see a little bit more development here too. So this will be making a run to the northeast as it continues to develop in this area. We have a window yet of about 3 to 5 hours of still these waves of this icy mix to go through. You see there's this massive winter storm all the way to the east coast. Snow, ice falling across many states. And the back edge of it is right about in here. You see how it's kicking up this little batch here. Then you get into the drier air. So that has to work its way across tonight. So all across Texas, we continue with the winter weather until we get this drier push and this area of low pressure moves by. Here's future radar. This is right at 12:30, so we're jumping ahead of just a little bit. Let's take this now to 2 to 2:30. You still see patches of freezing rain or sleet, or even a little random snowflake in the mix. 2:30 to 3 into the morning, you see this other batch out here, Rock Springs into Del Rio. That could actually even have a little thunder with it too. We've already had that out in New Mexico. We had thunder sleet in Austin. So, and that's just a thunderstorm that's dropping sleet instead of rain. Here you have at 4 to 4:30. This is still patches of a little icy mix, eastern zone, maybe around Bexar County, the hill country, west on 90, not out of the woods just yet. And then in the morning, it's just clouds as everything shifts east into the Houston area. We'll still have a little bit of a wintry mix here. And so what we'll have is a very cold start, cloudy, it's windy, it feels colder, single digits and teens with the wind chill. And roads will still be slick, all right? But then as the sun comes out, we should see some really nice improvement. And I think you'll find that Sunday afternoon, roads getting around town are gonna be pretty easy. You're gonna have melting, you're gonna have drying of the roadways for your Sunday afternoon. So clouds in the morning, 24 degrees. You see it turns partly sunny to mostly sunny, and we get a high up to 36 degrees. So again, travel not recommended here through the night as the ice patches develop across the area, the elevated road surfaces, the bridges, overpasses, the flyovers too. But then we should see some improvement for you by Sunday afternoon. Here's a look at the temperatures in terms of what it feels like right now. 22 is the wind chill in San Antonio, which is actually a little bit of an improvement from earlier. And in the morning, expecting it to be around about 15, 7 in Bernie, 3 up into Kerrville. And then notice the afternoon hours, it's going to be staying in the 20s with the wind chill. This is Sunday evening at 9 o'clock. And I do want to point out, too, that we have those airport delays that'll be moving to the East Coast, and eventually in time we'll be seeing better conditions. Again, just tonight with the icy mix, sun is back, and then we got dry weather for much of next week. Just those really cold mornings here. We'll continue to watch all this activity, frequent updates all night long. I'm here in the 4-Zone Weather Center. Meteorologist Jeanette Cayo will be joining me late into the night for early morning coverage to get you started on your Sunday. So we'll see you here on News 4. Also on our social media platforms as well, news4sa.com, our Facebook page, also our YouTube channel.